3, 2, live.
You're now watching two old farts making noises.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Roald who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Wow, what an intro that is. Try not to throw up. You know, you can't pay for good talent like that.
Sammy, it's talent that you're getting, yes.
There you go. How you doing?
Great. Dave, you'll be pleased to know because you go old drift diva. Okay, very nice.
Especially for you, Roald.
We've really okay. Sure. We've had power. We've had none of this. The outages have gone.
Got the power.
We've got power, which is crazy. Oh, the whole thing is quite silly. We've got a very strange situation here. We've got a lot of talented people who are not in government, and a lot of talentless people who are in government. Hey, hang on, haven't you got the same thing over there, Steve?
We have no talented people in government.
Yeah, I heard Liz Cheney having a go at the whole situation, and she said, and it really could have been about here in South Africa. It was exactly the same thing. And she said, we have got to stop electing idiots. And we have exactly the same thing. And I will say this, the stuff I'm hearing coming out of the States now, comments, all sorts of things, it reminds me a lot of what was happening in South Africa in the 80s.
That's not a good thing.
A lot. I saw, where was this? I saw, here we go. A lot of people are going on about, where have I got this? Here we go. A lot of the comments I see on the blogs, people making comments about some of the appointments in the US, some of the university appointments, the crime stats, the 13%, as they call it there. Right. And you've got these subtle references to, well, let's just say color. And I thought to myself, I'm just putting it out there. This is an echo of South Africa in the 1980s. And yet it's in the US right now in 2023. It's quite interesting. It's exactly the same thing people used to say in the 80s in South Africa, to a word.
But here's the funny part. We used to say this back in the 1800s before the Civil War. So we are literally just history repeating itself.
It's crazy because I always find that when people get cornered, out come those color things, those entitlement things, and it's quite weird because I had a conversation with one of our news folks at the radio station where I dabble, and I said, this might not sit well with you. This is a woman of color, and I said to her, and it might not sit well with a lot of people around the world, and that is, I'm not sure that people. This is going to sound weird, and that's why I'm saying it, because I'm stirring up trouble. That's good. That's what I want. I'm not sure that people actually are racist. And let me tell you why I say that. Let me explain. Everybody loses their mind. What I find is that most people, when they display these sort of racist views, if you drill down into it, if you sit down with them and you chat, and I can even speak for myself, you discover that it's not really about race, it's more about ignorance and things that you think that people are doing and they are thinking. And as I say, I stand corrected. If someone has got something different to say, that's fine. But I find that certainly in this country, what I've seen is the more people learn about each other. They don't have to like each other, by the way. They don't have to like each other. But when you are more exposed to other people, when you see them, when you see the humanity in them, when you don't see them as a group or a thing over there, when you're in the same malls now, when you're listening to the same music, when you're watching the same sports, when you're starting to have the same concerns, you go, yeah, I don't know why I thought that about them. And it's quite interesting because you start to feel, hang on, we're not the same, but we are the same. I mean, no people are the same. Twins are not the same. That's what I mean by not the same. But we are the same. We have the same access. We should have the same access to whatever. Of course, you've got to earn that kind of access. But what I'm saying is that for me, someone who is would be a hard racist, someone who's like a total racist, is someone who looks in your eyes, Steve, and gets to know everything about you, your fears, your concerns, your everything, your jokes, the works, and still based on that, make some judgment about you that is almost irrational, to do with the fact that you're Jewish or you're white, and it's almost like an irrational, ignorant fear. So what I'm saying is that a lot of people who demonstrate, and I'm talking about some of these blogs I see in the States that reflect a lot of what used to happen in South Africa, is they just don't know. They don't know what the other people are thinking. And when they get together, like I say, they don't have to be friends. There are white people who are not friends. Just saying. You don't automatically, just because you're two men or two white people or two of the same group, you don't have to necessarily be friends. But now when you add in color and gender and all these things, it just makes for these little groupings. And you start to, men this, women this, white people this, black people this. But you don't know that. You don't really know that. It's almost like it's a protection for you. You go, well, all women must think that way. And that elevates me in some way because I'm a man. Women are just this. And what you're really doing is you're showing you probably demonstrate that kind of behavior too. Like driving. It's the old thing where people drive. They go, he's such an idiot. Look at these people driving. They don't know how to drive. You stick the camera on yourself and you go, mate, you're driving the same way. In fact, you're driving worse than those people. And it's almost like you see bad behavior in other people. That's a reflection of your own. And I'm saying when it comes to things like, we just use color as a nice little category, but that's what's really going on. We're protecting ourselves. We saying, I don't want to find out. I've stuck them in a box and I've figured them out. And that's it. And it doesn't threaten me. Because if I have to find out that they just like me and they have the same fears as me, oh boy, then I've got to what? Know them and accept them. And I don't ever want to do that. Don't.
So there you go. It's almost like ignorance is bliss.
But the
like this cocktail of sort of fear and ignorance. I think that's what fuels it for a lot of people.
Which is not racist. That's what I'm saying. It's not racism is just color. I think you're an idiot or you do this just based on your melanin content. I mean, think how stupid that is. Think how ridiculous that is. But that's what people do. Yeah.
But of course, it's an easy card. It's an easy card to play, isn't it? Because
it is.
You're frustrated about whatever, and then you say, "Oh, he's like that because he's from this ethnic group, or he has this tint, or this religion, or whatever." But
correct.
It's just born out of. I always felt ignorance. That. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I'll tell you a story. When I was in hospital, I had a guy next to me who was like, from let's say from a very working class area of The Hague. And he kept going on about, Allochtona this and Allochtona that. And Allochtonas, these are people who are then just fundamentally not Dutch. Yeah?
Oh, okay.
And by law, that actually means someone who is, one parent is Dutch and the other isn't. So you have this legal classification called allochtone. And he was talking about the guy next to me, and the guy next to me was actually a refugee from the Afghan war, and he'd been helping the Dutch army, and he'd been very sick, and so he was lying next to me in his bed in the hospital. And the guy was saying to me, "Yeah, well, look at him, and look at that." And I said, "Well, what's the issue?" "Yeah, all these Allochtona and everything else. They're all this, they're all that." But basically, what he wanted to say was, he wanted to use the N-word or say something very racist, and he kind of packaged it up by saying Allochtona. And a day later, my kids came and to see me. By then, whatever reason I was in hospital, I was better. The next day, my kids came. And he said to me, you're really nice kids. I said, yeah. I said, thank you very much. I said, they're not bad for allochthona. He said, what do you mean? He said, and he said to me, he said, they don't have a different coloured skin. I said, no, but by law, because I'm a Brit and their mothers are Dutch, it makes them allochthona. Well, that's not what I meant. I said, well, would you like to explain what you actually meant?
You see.
And of course, he didn't and wouldn't and couldn't.
But that's my point. It's a
people are just
comfortable
ignorant
box to sit in. It's a comfortable box when you're upset with the world, or you haven't got a job, or something has gone wrong. I mean, this is something
it's them.
It's so easy to blame someone else. It's dead easy. I mean, this is what to go back to a stereotype or whatever it is. I mean, this is what Hitler so successfully did. He said, right, those are the people right there that are responsible for your pain, your ills, and that's your target. And when you've got a target for blame, whatever it is, whoever it is, however it is, it's so convenient because it means it's not you. You're not the problem. There's nothing you have to do. You're perfect. Yeah. You are super talented. You've got all the skill, but they've done it to you. They have robbed you. They have taken away from you. They have stopped you. And the truth is, you're the only one who can stop you. But that's not the point. That's hard, because if someone says to you, Steve, Dave, you're the reason for your trouble. What do you mean? No, but it's you. You're the problem. You. And the great thing about being the problem is that you can actually do something about it, or nothing. That's up to you. But that's harder. It's easier to say those people, them, that color, that gender, those, whatever you called them, Dave, them, they're responsible for you. It's so convenient. It's so easy. I'm just saying we just need to try harder. And maybe the whole racism thing is just it's just a convenient scapegoat. That's what it is.
Yeah, a very convenient political scapegoat, I think, because you have it in Holland. Same issues they have in the UK. All the problems in the UK come from boat people, and all the problems that we have in Holland is because we have an open policy for refugees.
Can I just say something? You brought something up. Sorry, quickly before I forget. I want to. It brings me to a nice, inflammable topic. The whole thing with Brexit. I love Brexit. Yeah. I love it because it just people say
You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. It's finished.
But let me tell you. Let me explain. Let me explain. Shh, my show. Shut up. Let me explain. What was great about Brexit is a classic example where they used a group, blame a group, do whatever. Now, I'm not getting into the specifics of it and who's to blame or whatever, but really the person to blame, each person in the UK, the person that you can blame for the results you didn't get is yourself. It's you. You didn't do the homework. 100%. You didn't do the research. It's you. You didn't find out. It's not David Cameron. It's not the Conservatives. It's not the Syrian refugees that you think are going to flood in, or the Turks that might join the EU, or whatever the hell excuse, or the French people that are taking away your flower business, or whatever it is, or the bad trade deals. You're the problem. You get to vote. You get to decide. You hire politicians. So you need to do your homework and you need to find out the facts. But people didn't vote and they thought it's not going to happen. It won't happen. And it did. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you are on, Brexit, the result happened and it was the fault of the people that didn't vote. So it was the people's fault. It was their fault. No one else.
I'm going to expand upon that and actually I'm going to expand upon that and actually say I know exactly where the fault is. And the fault was, you can put it down to alarm clocks.
Clocks.
Yeah, because nobody bothered to get up and vote.
Right.
And those that did get up and vote were all people that voted Brexit.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, Dave, is what do people do? Whenever you see discussions on something like Brexit, no one ever says, this is what you will never see in a Brexit discussion. You know what? It's my fault. No one ever says that. They never say, I didn't do the proper research. If I felt that strongly about remain or leave or whatever it is, what did I do to find out and possibly go out and explain to people? What exactly did you do So you know what? That's the point. So Brexit is.
And the other thing is,
you get the government
they didn't include the expats, huh? Because as I said but before, I'm disenfranchised because I've been out of the UK for so long, but I'm still a UK passport holder. So it still affects me on a daily basis. But we weren't allowed to vote. And surprise, surprise, do you think I would vote for Brexit or against Brexit?
To me, I wouldn't know.
No.
I wouldn't care.
Well, the other thing about Brexit, which was interesting, is I think the people that did vote for it, somehow when they were touring the country and telling everybody how wonderful it was and it'd be great, it was like people were saying, "Oh, but if we don't like it, we would go back." And I think they all thought they had like a do-over. And I literally read an article in the FT, and they interviewed people, and the people were like, "Oh, we thought we had if we didn't like it, like in a year, we can just go back. We had like a do-over." And I'm like, "There's no do-overs. This is like life. You don't get a do-over." And so I think a lot of them thought they had a do-over. They thought, "Oh, if we don't like it, this will happen." And then like all of a sudden now they're under the rude awakening. Like, no, the grass isn't greener on this side. So you know.
So the point I'm trying to make is that the whole thing, getting back to racism, whatever it is, it's all your fault. It's inside you and what you find out. Every single conspiracy theory that I see, it's fascinating. I mean, what people think goes on, and they get drawn into it. In fact, a lot of your conspiracy theorists, no matter who they are or where they are, they have this checklist of 10 things, roughly. You know, chemtrails, Jewish space lasers.
Wait, that's Jewish space lasers is true. Yeah. So no, it's not conspiracy.
Is it true? Okay,
it's true. Yeah, that's good.
It's true.
It's true. Just like the Jews have all the money. True. Those two things are true in the conspiracy theory. So there's only probably 8.
Steve, I got a mate. His name's Richard. Jewish fellow, very creative guitarist, lovely man, and he is still really upset about it because he wants to know where's his space laser and where's his money? Because he hasn't got any money. Where's my money? He's got a good point.
All right, so here's the thing. There's only a select few of us Jews that get it, and it's just the way it works. So you have to be here a long time, like the lizard people. We were here when the earth cooled. So those are the Jews that get it.
Jews. It's not all Jews, Steve. It's elite. The
elite Jews, right? It's the elite.
It's the lizard / Jews who get it. That's what Steve's trying.
The lizard Jew. Oh,
the lizard Jews.
Yes. Have you got the thing? Have you got the?
No. The lizard skin. I got the lizard skin. Yes.
He's got all of that. Yeah.
I got all that. I don't have a tattoo. I don't have any tattoos.
You know, if you watch enough of our shows, all of a sudden Steve's screen gets blacked out.
I've seen that.
He has to eat a few flies.
Is that what it is?
Eat a few flies. So he comes.
You have to lose the skin.
It peels off. I have to peel quickly, and I have to get some water, and then I come back, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here," and then people are like, "Oh, okay."
So when you go to the what is it in the States? The CVS, and you say, "I need some exfoliant," they go, hang on.
I go to the special section. That's right.
Got the good stuff. Hang on.
I have to go to there's a special section for us. We go. It's behind the pharmacy. They know that you give them the handshake. It's like the Masons. It's a handshake, a wink, and a nod, and we get the special bottles. So your top 10 conspiracy things: Jewish laser, true. So you might as well just move that. Jews having all the money, true.
I've never heard of that. I don't know what the Jewish laser is.
True. We have that.
Is the media control true? They control all the media.
We control all of course. We control it. We're Jewish. We control everything.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Please.
Shall I let you into a little secret? I'm the one. I'm Church of England, mate, and I'm the one who's pushing these buttons. You watch. It changes. See? It's all me.
Right.
Church of England.
You're the Illuminati. Are you the Illuminati? The Illuminati.
Ooh, the Illuminati is a good subject. I like them.
Oh.
Illuminati. Or the Burgermeisters and all the rest of the crazy stuff. So wait, I want to go back to the conspiracy theory. What are the top 10 things?
Knights of St. George, I think I probably would be.
They're very nice. Okay, so the top 10 things are: the Jews have all the money. The Jews control Hollywood, which is true because there's Spielberg and Siegelberg and Steinberg and all the Berg. That's a true statement.
Sure.
We have a space laser. That's a true statement. So right away, 3 of the conspiracy things are 3. What's the other 7?
Chemtrails. The chemtrails.
Oh yeah, the airplanes. I've seen that. Yeah, I saw that. That's a lizard people.
And there's that monument.
Some form of.
There's that monument, I think, in Georgia. That's like
they blew it up. They blew the monument in Georgia. Yeah, they blew it up. They blew it up about 7 or 8 months ago. Yeah.
You know what? You remember that was like something about the 500,000 or culling all the people.
Yep.
Okay. Who blew it up? Did you blow it up with a space laser?
We blew it up with a space laser. Of course we did. Come on, we can't have that monument there. It tells the secret of the world. We're not allowed to have that. It's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So,
and of course, and then all the Teamsters came in with their trucks and took all the rubber away.
Yeah, we had to make. They have to make. Listen, we got to keep the Italians happy. That's how they make money with Vinny and Tony. Come on.
But seriously, did they blow it up? Really?
Yeah, they really did. They blew it up. I think middle of last year. Yeah. So that's blown up and by a space laser from Jews. So that's good. What else you got for your top 10 conspiracy theories? The chemtrails, the only good thing so far, because that's we're
the super soldier thing, and of course every medical thing that you can. Oh, fluoride. That's another Jewish thing. They putting the fluoride in the water.
Watch out, Stephen.
Fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that gets back, but my conspiracy theorist, former best man, explained to me. I mean, most of these things apparently are related to a small cabal of Jews that actually teamed up with the Nazis. There you go.
Well, of course. I mean, like, you're going to team up with somebody. You got to team up with the guys who are going to, go to the Arctic.
All 23 of them.
The Titanic never happened, and there were actually 2 of them. That's another one.
Really? Okay. Those people that died last week looking at it
obviously
probably
the moon landing. Obviously the moon landing.
Obviously. Oh,
obviously.
The one I saw this morning, I don't know if you can help me out here, Roald, because you're a man who's always on top of the news. I found out this, pizzas. The pizza has been found, a painting of a pizza in Pompeii. So we know now where pizzas came from.
Pizzas came from China.
Did they come from China?
They came from China back in the year, 26,000 years ago. They come up with pizza.
Yeah. So there's a photograph of this painting that just uncovered in Pompeii of what appears to be a pizza. So Italians officially invented pizzas.
But here's here's one I like. I like the ones where they go, look, there's an iPhone and a painting from the 14th century. Time travel is real. And I'm thinking to myself,
there was a Ukrainian story. There was a Ukrainian drama series that featured that. Time traveler story. Did you ever see that? Did you see that? There was some guy who claimed he was kind of like Robert. Who was the guy? Unsolved Mysteries. Remember that guy?
Robert Stack.
Robert Stack, right?
Yeah, the Untouchables, the original Untouchables.
Yes, and they had Ukraine had a version of that. These mysteries, and guy would come on and they would just present these things. And there was a story about a guy who, he went back to 1930, and then he disappeared, and then his wife. Oh no, it's crazy. And then of course, when you drill down, you realize there's no proof.
Nothing. There's no proof. But
is there no such thing as time travel?
There's
no such thing.
Right.
I've seen these films. I've seen these films of people walking around in the 1930s with, talking on mobile phones and stuff. I mean, is that not real?
Yes, it's real.
I'm just asking.
Yes, it's real. Yes, it's like the Jewish lasers. They're real. Here's
I still don't know what a Jewish laser is, but
but Dave, that's why Hitler had a problem with Jews, because they had mobile phones in the 1930s.
Yeah,
and he was like,
and a Jewish laser, and a Jewish laser. Yeah, I know, and a Jewish laser. Yeah.
You see, were they all on T-Mobile then? It's not what it was. Does it go back?
They were.
It was too much for him. He couldn't understand it, and you know what people do when they can't understand something? I got to destroy it. So
there you go.
Yeah. And I think they say it's a time traveler.
This is a known. They were quite prepared. I mean, Steve will back me up on this. One of the great things about the Jewish community, very sharing. They would have said, "Look, Adolf, let's work something out. Let's build a deal. Let's make a deal." And he chose to go the route he did. That was his mistake. That was his mistake. We could have had mobile phones. We could have had social media in the 1950s.
Well, that's good. In 1945, you could have had a version of TikTok with people going, look. It would have been awesome. Yeah. And it's all because, listen.
Grandparents could have been influencers.
That's right. And where would we be? Who knows where we'd be today? AI would be running the world.
Yeah, the thing is, of course, it would make racism a lot easier, wouldn't it? Because it would.
You can hate everybody equally.
That racism everywhere.
It would be a bit like a version of Tinder. You know, just like yes, no, yes, no.
Swipe left,
yes,
swipe
no.
right.
Oh,
You know what? Actually, really cool. I think I'm going to make an app. And the app is going to be a racism app. And I think what I'm going to do with this app is I'm going to be like, if you don't like them and you want to be racist, you swipe right. But if you think they're like you, you swipe left. And I think we should have come up with a racism app.
Oh,
And I
very
think
good.
it would
I see what you
sell.
did there. I see
Yeah.
what you did there, right and
Yeah.
left. I get that. I see what you
Yeah,
did.
you like that? I think we're going to come up with David, make a note that have our team work on a racist app, and I know the exact clan to send it to.
Any snappy names? I mean,
I'm just thinking the
Tinder's
racist.
already been used.
I just think the racist app is perfect because I mean,
Yeah.
let's just if you're going to be racist, you might as well just I'm
Get it
racist.
right out there. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just tell everybody.
Cool.
Yeah.
Call it
Like-
spade
it'll
a
be called-
spade. Come on, here we
Tell
go.
you what, guys,
Call it spade a
let's
spade.
call it racy. You just call it racy.
I like it.
Yeah?
Racy.
There we go. Racy.
Okay,
There you go.
all right,
Right, left, right, left. I mean,
And
you could have all
what
that
do you do?
marching
You-
music to go with it as well. You know, they could do all the, yeah,
I like
lots
it.
of
Yeah.
Wagner. Yeah,
Stiff-
lots of
stiff-
Wagner in the background.
Get the music going. Sure, you could play the music that John likes to play for us every now and then. So the marching music. Oh, that'd be beauty. It'd be
You know
great.
what you do? Now, hang on. What you do then is you have like a list of questions. What airports would you like renamed?
Right.
History you'd like changed.
And
Yeah.
And I like that. And then what you do is you give them the
Yep.
top 10 conspiracy theories. And if you got to get them right, like which one are true and which one are false. And you give them the Jewish lasers, we control Hollywood, all of it, and the Stones enjoy all of it, and go, now, if you don't get this, you can't use a racism app.
I like it. So you've got to figure out what's true and what's not.
There you
So
go.
when did racism start in America? Was it 1615?
Yeah.
Was it 17?
I'd like to predict that if you use that as an entry point, they would never sell any of the apps because there isn't anybody clever enough out
probably.
there to work it.
Well, it depends.
I mean, they'll probably all think, "Oh, I'll have a racy. I'll have a racy." Yeah, I'll put that on my phone.
It's a great dating app then too. Just think about it. So you could be racist and your partner can be racist and you can have little racist children and the whole family. It'd be nice. Get together at the holidays. Oh, it'd be great.
Can you imagine? I want someone who's blonde, blue-eyed, racist, must and then tick which group they mustn't like.
Right.
And so you can hate together because hate
Right.
brings people together.
Oh my God, that's the best. Yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah. Do you like barbecues?
Default. Have the default on the telephone. Some things you wouldn't even know on the app would just be standard. Like you'd be a racist anyway, because if not, you wouldn't be on the racy app. So that's
think
like
it's good.
default.
I think it'll make people more honest. I think it'll be great. I think we just bring these honest.
I think we're going to pitch it to T-Mobile. They're going to be the sort of company that's going to pick it up and go with it first.
Do you think they'll sponsor it? Bud Light? No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Yeah. Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that
was the racist app.
I got to say that I saw Christiane Amanpour talking to Obama the other day, and it was quite. I don't know if you've seen the interview. Very, very. By the way, he's gone very white, hasn't he? I mean, his hair.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Whoa. News to us here. Good for Obama. Wow. Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. I thought he was becoming Michael Jackson for some reason. All of a sudden, I got like, whoa, good for you, buddy.
That came out.
World exclusive.
World
exclusive.
The world exclusive. Obama goes white. Nice. I like it. That's you don't get that every day. So, and he's a big fan of the show. So when he sees this, he's going to go, I am. Maybe we'll have him on next week when you're on again, and he can explain to you why he's white.
Yes, we can. Oh my goodness.
Or no, we can't. So.
No, but
we can because he charged 20,000 euros a pop or something.
Is that it?
So,
that's it. Clinton charges 250,000
for a meet and greet. Yeah?
Really? And what does Trump charge? $1 billion. Hang on.
Well,
how much?
How
much? They'd have to pay me to do it.
How much does he need for Jean Carroll? There's $6.5 million. That's what his going rate is right now.
He's going to watch more. He's going to be going to jail. He's not going to be getting paid for anything. So,
no,
I got to tell you. Oh, and now that we've wandered into that, fantastic. I just want to say now, in the 28th of June, 2023, I'm going to make a prediction. If he doesn't get convicted, which I'm not convinced he will, I reckon he will be the Republican nominee. Probably. And I reckon all 75 million of his voters will vote for him again. He hasn't lost any support. And I can tell you now, and this is you can take it as a warning or words of encouragement, depending on which side of the fence you sit. He is going to, I think he's got a good shot. There are people saying he was 45 and now he's going to be 47. And that's not a joke. I actually think it's a, Michael Moore even pointed this out before he became president before. I'm not getting involved in whether you like him or don't like him. He is certainly a character. And that, Steve, you will back me up. Americans like characters. They like strong people like that. They do. You can say what you like. That he sticks out. He was Time Man of the Year. He hits the headlines, whether you agree with him or not. He's always in the freaking news. He's always around. He's got one of the biggest brands. There it is. And his supporters like that. And they will be at the polls on the 8th of November, 2024. Is that when it is? Somewhere around there? All right. They will be there. They freaking kids that are 18 will be there.
Here's the problem.
They'll have the alarm clock going on that morning. They'll have the alarm clock going.
Wait. Let me finish. If Trump gets in, this is going to become like Russia, and you're going to have a Putin situation, and there'll be no more constitution, and there'll be no nothing. And my question or my statement then is, you have all these people that are in the armed services and in agencies that don't exist, that their job is to protect the United States Constitution. So you cannot, in theory, have a demigod or a monarch run the country. So now what happens? That's going to be the real question. If he becomes the next, let's say Biden just needs a stronger vice president, or actually the Democrat, Joe, you did a good job. Step down and get a stronger Democrat, but that's not probably going to happen. That requires thought. I know they don't have anything.
That's the problem. I'm just putting that out. 28th.
No, I agree with you. So if Trump, let's just say that nothing. He already tried to have an insurrection. He already tried to, have Pence killed. He already tried to, you know what I'm saying? He went through all this stuff, and everybody's like, but it's okay. So my thing is, okay, if you become president again, then we can throw away our rights because now he is no better than a Putin. He is now a dictator. He's going to get rid of the Constitution. And then when he dies, I have no idea what happens.
I say that because obviously I've lived there. I love the American, what I would call the experiment. It is an experiment. Let's be honest. It's a young experiment.
Yep.
It's been doing great. But I recognize parallels. Having lived in the UK, South Africa, and the US, I see parallels between what Trump is, his whole ambit, the whole vibe, the pull, the push behind him, support for him is very, dare I say, African. There's a lot of that goes on in this continent. People like strong leaders. It doesn't matter what they say. They like the strength. They like a man who just, I can't explain it. And you can say all the right things here, but if you're not the man, Malema, for instance, he is a great speaker. I don't agree with him. In fact, no. One or two of things that he says I do agree with. 8 of them I don't. 2 of them I do. But I give him props. He works hard at his image. He's out there. He puts a lot of effort into it. There's no question about it. In fact, a lot of what he is and what he's about and you could argue his misguided, whatever, like Trump may be a bit misguided. That doesn't matter. That's immaterial. The supporters enjoy that. You have to recognize that. If you find that concerning, you can't just sweep Trump aside. That's what I would say. This is the thing I want to say. If you like him, well, great. You're going to have him as the 47th president. If you don't like him, you must recognize, don't just sweep him aside. He's not someone you sweep aside. You have to meet him head on and say, right, why is he doing so well? What is he saying? Why is he appealing? What is his appeal? What is it about him? Who are the people in America that don't feel like they're being spoken to? And I want to say, when I lived there were a ton of people, particularly in the crowd in the town I lived in, that did not feel like the Democratic Party, rightly or wrongly, were talking to them. And that is why they liked what Trump is and what he's about. And that, Steve, Dave, has not changed. It hasn't changed. They still feel like people who maybe are not getting in with the tech revolution, who are not IT savvy, maybe whatever it is, they feel they're concerned about globalization, all these things. None of their concerns, valid or not, have been addressed. None of them. No one has spoken to them, just said, you people are just MAGA people, and they've been dismissed. And I've got to tell you, if you don't acknowledge people, that's where the problem
this is the problem. And I agree with everything you just said. The problem is I don't feel whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or an independent, or a communist, or a social, I don't care, pick your party. You don't speak to the people at all. You speak to your donors and the other 300 million people that you really should be working for, you just poo-poo on. When the Democrats announce something like they just gave Ford $9 billion to build 3 battery plants. Okay, so some people will get a job. Mostly it'll be automated. That's good for Ford. You know, Reagan did it and bailed out Chrysler in the 80s, but it's not speaking to me. I don't even know who our reps are here in Texas, or when I lived in Florida or New York. Well, New York, we all know because it's like either Cuomo or this guy or that guy, and they're like, they do. But all the other states, when I lived in Florida, no clue. When I lived in California, no clue. When I lived in any state other than New York, in New York, I knew who my councilman was. I knew who the mayor was. I knew who my senators and Congress people were, because in New York, whether you're Republican or Democrat, you actually have to do stuff. In these other states, I find the only thing they do is whether you're the governor down, the only thing you're doing is trying to get reelected. So all you're doing is glad handing a bunch of guys that want to write you checks. So I don't think either party speaks to anybody anymore. It is a popularity contest, and it's always been. It's probably, I think the first time everybody realized it was a popularity contest in the modern era is the Kennedy-Nixon debate, where Nixon lost because he didn't look good on television, and then Kennedy won. And then when he came back and won, when Nixon won, is because they said, listen, here's how you have to do it. We have to make you more television, more likable. Trump just happens to be a blowhard from back in the 70s. We'll forget about how he got his money and all this other crap, right? He's been his own PR guy, his own this, his television. So everybody knows him. So he's like, you're the popular kid.
He's a brand.
Right. So just say, for example, I know Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, said he wanted to run for president. So if he runs and it's him and Trump, and pick another movie actor, the most popular one, not the smartest one, or not the one who actually can get anything done, will win. It's going to be whoever. It's like voting for the king and queen of your high school prom. And unfortunately, this is a country with 300 plus million, with big problems and deficits and things you have to control. And you cannot vote for the popular. You have to vote for the guy with the IQ.
I want to say this, Steve, because I find myself wanting to defend Americans, and I'm going to do that. And whatever. Having lived there, I think it's an amazing country. I do. I think it's extraordinary good. Most of the people are fantastic, which is true of a lot of countries. Your ordinary guy on the street, I find, particularly when I was in New York talking to people, wherever, even in Virginia, wherever I went, the people were basically really good people. I found Americans to be really, by and large, really good people. Very much like, strangely enough, the people here in South Africa. Very friendly, very accommodating. Generally, most of the people. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was that I spoke to them. I don't know. So what I'm saying is the ordinary man is fine. I think that's not the problem. I just think the problems you mention are not peculiar to America. They're around the world. The problem is that America is the world's biggest economy. So if you are an American and you gladly accept that passport and that citizenship, I would say to you, you either leave the country, you renounce your citizenship, or you accept that by living in that amazing place, you have a duty not only to yourself, but the entire planet. That's just the way it is. Because when America gets a cold, the rest of the world gets bronchitis. And it's just the way it is. It is where all the immigrants and all the people went to create a better life. They took their skills, they took their wealth. There's 300 million of them. They're all just sitting there, and it's a tremendous melting pot of intellectual capital, of great physical whatever. So there's some serious talent there. A lot of the people are immigrants, and immigrants, by and large, in my view, are usually more talented people. But they're just letting all the people know that. And most of the people in America most of them are all immigrants or immigrated or come from immigrant families. So when people move, the people that voyage, the people that change countries, that move, they generally got a bit more going on upstairs. So you've got a nation, even to some extent here, you've got a nation of immigrants that have done amazing things and that they've created this incredible place, or their grandparents did, or whatever. I'm not so sure about some of the people there now, but because they're just lucky, as Chris Rock says, y'all just lucky. You're just lucky to be American. But if you're there, and you have to realize that you need to go and do some homework. You need to make sure that you don't vote for idiots, as Liz Cheney said. You've got to get the right people. You just have that duty. If you live in Morocco, God bless Morocco, it's not a big deal. That's not if Morocco goes belly up, and that would be bad. It's not going to reverberate around the world. If America goes belly up, and as you said, if the wrong person gets into the White House, whatever that means, and becomes a demagogue, whatever that is, it will affect everybody, the whole world. So you have to know that. So I guess what one is saying is, if you're there, please go and do some work. Read, not this crap you're in the, actually go to a library, talk to people, talk to journalists, get proper information and make informed decisions. And that's really important. It's very important.
Or you know what you can do? You can use our new conspiracy theory app, which is which will tie it into the racism app, and you now will be the smartest person in the room. You too can run a country. There you go. You know who's David? That's what we're going to do. On the racism app, we'll put the conspiracy theories with it, and then for fun, we'll make sure that and then for fun, we'll put like a figure of a guy, but not the guy who we just spoke about, just in case he wins. And this way, all his users and followers will just go to the racism app. It'll be perfect. I love it.
It'll be great. It will be great. It will be great.
There you go.
It'll be, guys, it'll be huge.
It'll be huge.
It'll be tremendous. It'll be the app that you've never ever seen before. It'll be crazy. It'll be fantastic. Nobody will ever see like that before.
It'll be like his SPAC that went out of business. So it'll be just like that. It'll be that huge.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. But just getting back to what's happening here, the reason why it's quite topical is we've got an election coming up next year as well, and I will remind people who don't necessarily live here, we do exist. We don't all love Russia. We don't all love Russia. I promise you that right now. There is an ANC government. Let me just give you some context, taking the emotion out of it. Back in the day when apartheid was the law of the land in South Africa, you had the ANC, which was a liberation organization trying to get rid of the nationalist apartheid government. Very noble, very good cause. The party of Mandela, as people would say. And that was something we were all behind. And that was good. But you have to remember something. What you may not know is that at the time, the Russian people, the Russians, were very involved with the ANC. And they funded them, they trained them, they helped them with, I think my wife just got home. I'm going to have to go and grab her outside. Give me a second. Can you talk amongst yourselves? Give me a second.
We'll talk among ourselves.
I do.
Well, David, that's never happened before. It's just you and I right now.
It just happens. It happens quite a lot on our show, Stephen. For some reason, other people just get up and leave. But,
I know. I don't know what that's all about. That's like, here, we'll just remove him from this. It'll just be, he's back.
Oh.
He's back. We add him to the stream.
Right.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's back.
So just getting back to the point, there is a strong connection between what you might call the former Soviet Union and the ANC. There was a strong link. They have a strong link. There was funding. There was training camps. Many of the Umkhonto Sizwe fighters, which is the armed wing of the ANC, were trained. They were Russian trained, Soviet trained, and there is an alliance. There's an historical link. And my opinion is irrelevant here. What I'm saying is, you've got a group of people who are now in office in South Africa, the ANC, who have an historical link to Russia. I don't think they support. They're not getting involved, but they are friends. There is definitely a link. And it would make sense. I don't agree with this. I'm just saying it does make sense for someone like Putin to capitalize on that historical link with people, the ANC leadership. And I'm pretty sure that he's dispatched his people to remind them of what Russia did or the Soviet Union did for the ANC back in the day. That is an important historical context. I haven't heard anything coming out of the South African government that says they support what's going on there, but they're certainly not going to, they're not going to condemn it. They're not going to support it. So they're going to sit on the fence. And I think before anybody, there's a lot more to it, is what I'm saying. Right. There's to be fair, back in the apartheid days, there were a lot of Western countries that traded with the national government. I'm not mentioning any names or whatever, but there were a lot of countries, democratic Western countries, that traded and dealt with South Africa in the apartheid days. They circumvented sanctions, and South Africa was able to do very well. And it could be argued that they prolonged apartheid. Not going to start that debate, but that is in the history books. By the same token, you had the Soviet Union stroke Russia that were funding, supporting, training the ANC liberation movement that was trying to get rid of apartheid. Some might say they were on the right side of history then. So, you know, it's not just a case, you know, people come to the party late and they look at this and they say, oh, South Africa's getting involved with Russia. No, they're not. They've always been linked to them. Always.
This goes back to people not knowing history again.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Now, what I'm saying is there hasn't been anything locally. I don't care what the media is saying overseas. In this country, there's no one in this country, even ANC supporters, that are in favor of whatever is going on in Ukraine right now. No one thinks that's a great idea. But what they're not going to do, a lot of these people, is they're not going to get involved. They don't want to get involved because they see Russia as a friend who helped them, and they're not going to condemn their friend. They're just going to say, it's not our problem. And that is as much as you're going to get out of them. And I think you have to look at the history of it. That's important to look at. It's not about whether I agree with it or not. I'm not in the government, but that's why it is what it is. And there's certain alliances around the world that have been formed. I mean, with respect, the US does business with Saudi Arabia. I'm just going to mic drop there right now. There's all kinds of things that have been said about both countries and their links, but you don't see this government judging the US for it because it's none of their business.
Right, but we're the US. We get to judge everybody.
Exactly. But that is the thing people have got to watch out for. Right. I'm just putting it out there, what is coming, what I'm seeing in this country, what I'm seeing on this continent. A lot of the African leaders are getting very pissed off about that. They're saying, yeah, but the West, all these things, it's not about agreeing. It's not about who agrees. And they've said, well, you did that and that, and we didn't get involved. Now we are maintaining our relationships, so you don't get involved. Right. Don't cripple our currency. Don't cut off our trade because you don't agree with what we're doing. We're not sending stuff there. We're just not telling them what to do, like you wouldn't want us to tell you what to do. And that is, again, not necessarily my viewpoint, but that is what is being said here.
It's also do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. I always said the best way, and I'm going to bring Brexit up again, the best way you change things, Dave, is you stay in the party. You don't leave. You stay, even if you don't like it. So, and I always said there were many things about the UK arrangement with the EU that I even wasn't happy with. But I always felt the best thing was stay in the room, stay in the party, stay at the conference table so you can talk. Because the moment you walk out, you're done. You cannot affect any change. Now, I'm saying what I would love America to do, because I have a work visa for the States. I love the country. I enjoy Americans. I think it's a marvelous country. I want Americans to stay. I want the US to stay involved with South Africa, because this country does definitely need the US. It doesn't need Russia. I can tell you that right now. And that's what worries a lot of people who live here, who trade, who understand the world a little bit. They understand the importance of that link. So I'm just saying, just don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, or whatever that order is. Just
there you go. Unless you don't like the baby, feel free to throw her out.
Yeah.
And with that, gentlemen, we're going to have to wrap it up. So thank you. Love being on your show, just to let you know.
Cool.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. And after the show, we're going to find out when he's going to do his next show. One day he'll do a live show. That'll be fun. Anyway, subscribe and like. We've got some extras that we'll put out. We hope you enjoyed it. And if there's anything we can do, let us know. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for listening to this Roald Woods, Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.